Welcome to the Extraordinary Culture Podcast. Podcast for the culture that is music, movies, sports, food, and beer. The Extraordinary Culture.
Hey, so guys, stroke the fucking furry wall.
What?
Stroke the furry wall. That's the kind of year we've had.
This is, I'll tell you, so yesterday, around 11:30 at night, we had to take Otis, our pug, to, a 24-hour veterinarian hospital yesterday. And it basically just his experience summed up the year so far. A shot to the dick. He got bit by a bug and on his dick and had to have Benadryl shot in his dick just to get the swelling down. So ouch. I was like, man, that pretty much sums up the whole year. A shot to the dick.
A la verga. For those that speak Spanish, not me.
Not me.
No, I've been watching some stupid TikToks, and there's a guy that he's half Mexican, half white, and he did a bit where he did that. He's like, phrases that just don't translate, well from Spanish, and that was one of them. Yeah. So first he did it in Spanish. He's like, "Ah, la verga," it goes like that, all talking a bunch of shit, and then it cuts and it's him doing the white, "Ah, to the dick, buddy." He's pretty funny. Anywho.
So, what's new, guys?
What's new?
What's not new? How about that?
We had the death of George Floyd, who was a man who was arrested and he was killed. And that sent off a global protest, basically.
Right.
And people went crazy, looting. Then it calmed down a little bit. And then COVID is on a resurgence.
But interesting enough, a lot of people are saying that the protest didn't affect the resurgence.
No, that's
because
probably
a lot of
the county's opening up.
Yeah.
How long does it take to actually get the results from those tests?
Up to 2 weeks.
It depends on where you get it.
Yeah.
I've seen people that say they can do it in like 2 days. I think CVS's are saying they can do it in 2 days.
Government-wise.
The average is about 5.
Like if you went and got tested at like a hospital, where are they pulling these numbers from? Are they getting them from hospitals? That's what I don't understand. If they're saying there's a spike, you can't blame those protests, because didn't those protests just happen? And not all those people went out and got tested.
They sparked off around the 1st of June. So it's already been that it wouldn't, not that they necessarily went and got tested. A lot of protests that were organized, they told people, they were telling people, if you're out protesting, go get tested. But it's just the people that had symptoms or whatever went to get tested. So they don't see the spike as directly reflecting that, more than just the opening of a bunch of different stuff. It's just people are going out more.
But out of all those spikes in cases, how many of them are dead?
Okay. So this is debatable, but they're saying too, there's evidence starting to come out that they say that this stuff's starting to slowly lose its potency, because what the science behind that is that this is a virus and it wants to attach itself to something, because that's its nature. But in doing so, because social distancing didn't let it spread like it wants to. So in order to spread, it's just not, the potency isn't there. It's just like adding water to alcohol. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're diluting it. That's what people are saying. The people in, I think it's France, are saying that. There's some debate there, but I've seen some articles and been reading some stuff that's about that. When you read it, it makes sense. To be like, yeah, I could see that happening if it wants to just spread. Because what I think is happening, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but people that have been getting it haven't seemed to have gotten it as bad. Like there are, of course, cases that people, you get it and it's really bad, but I know a lot of people who have gotten, well, I don't personally know them, but just stuff you see online, people have been like, yeah, I had it and really wasn't all that bad. Like, it sucks. Please don't do what you're supposed to so you don't get this, but it hasn't been too bad. Then the county's a mess. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about this and what you don't, because I've been reading a lot just because I've been reading a lot.
We can touch on it briefly. They're just, though, like we said, the world's been going crazy, so it's not. We got to keep relevant with what we're doing. So
Right.
Well, will talking about this get us pulled from YouTube?
No, because
Okay.
we're not throwing any. YouTube is pulling the conspiracy stuff about stuff. They're not letting any kind of conspiracy stuff go on. So no, none of what I'm not a conspiracy type person. So
No.
yeah. So
And
no.
as we're bringing it up as speculation and rumors and things like that. We're not talking about it as hard facts.
No, not at all. No. I'm just
Speak for
articles I've
yourself,
been reading.
sir. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this before. It's the time. Everything is just like, it's the perfect storm for everything. I think I said that before. For everything going on, it's just like with everything going on, it's just like it's the perfect storm for everything to just erupt. And it is, because you don't, if you are staying home, your mind's just all over the place. You're always thinking, stuff coming, through, and that works for both sides of any argument.
Oh yeah, and then you're playing with
speculate.
fireworks at night, keeping up your neighbors.
Yeah.
Dude, with all of that is some craziness right there. It's happening everywhere.
Dude, I thought it was just my neighborhood, and then like I saw like on the national news, on ABC Morning News, that it was like, oh, there's like fireworks going off across the country. I'm like, what the?
Yeah, all over the place.
It's not like, even like in Corona, I'm there's often times where I'll see one or hear one firework go off periodically. Lately, it's been every single night.
Yeah.
Even when we were at the animal hospital yesterday, right behind the Food for Less, because you can see, well, you can't see, but there's the animal hospital, and then behind it is Van Buren. Across the street from there is Food for Less. Well, behind what would be the Food for Less, right in that area, there were fireworks going
in
on.
Riverside?
Okay. California, Van Buren.
Well, there's a lot of open space and fields right there too. There's a lot of open space. Though, me too. I live by a golf course, so
which is the dumbest place to do it.
Yeah. Well, it sparked a fire around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Up near Eagle Glen or that area. Not that far. Not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of weird. Yeah. No. Whatever. Like, yeah. I mean, most nights have been kind of cool, so I've been opening up the doors. At night, like right around now, like my doors are open right now, the front door, the back door, just to kind of let in some air because it was humid today, so the air conditioning ran like most of the day, so I just was like, let's air out the house a little bit and stuff, and then it's prime time to hear them go off. And again, I live by a golf course, so a lot of people just hop a fence over to the golf course and light them off there because you got that big old open area.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
then there's a park, that Cresta Verde Park's not that far from my house either, so. People are doing them there too. It's in the parking lot because the park's technically closed still. So yeah, so, I don't know. Whatever. Is it bothersome? Yeah, it's stupid, but like I tend to drown it out. I don't.
The way I've started to think about things right now is the old saying, hindsight is 20/20, and I think if we can learn a hell of a lot from this year, then we have to think about that in the positive terms. Like we're learning to slow down and appreciate shit. Because we can't be running. That's been good, man. I appreciate that. Even the silver lining and everything. And if we learn to work on this and work on our relations with race and getting people help they need in the right ways, that's a good thing. And we're seeing a lot of really good people stepping up and coming to support things. I mean, even bands like Black Sabbath and AFI are doing really good things right now. Does anybody want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So Black Sabbath, one of their iconic covers with the purple letters, they changed that into a Black Lives Matter shirt with all of the money going to fundraise for Black Lives Matters, I believe in London. And the really cool one that I thought was AFI is doing a fuck racism shirt. And Dan could probably tell me where that skull came from. The back it says fuck racism. And the money is going to Marsha P. Johnson. Now, if you don't know who Marsha P. Johnson was, she was a transgendered person who was at the Stonewall riots. She threw the first brick at the Stonewall riots. Now, the whole reasons we have the pride parades in June is because of Stonewall riots, which was a crackdown on a gay bar in New York. And these people finally said, like, we've had enough of this shit. We just want to enjoy ourselves. We're not bothering you. We're not going to straight bars and like harassing the customers. We're just here by ourselves. So I think out of all the charities to give to, that was like one of the most significant ones.
Right. And then you've even got Yeah, I know it's further down, but we've got the creator of Punisher here, fighting back and taking back his logo, saying that he never meant that to be a symbol for armed forces and for the police, because flat out, Punisher's a vigilante. He's taking the law into his own hands, and he's doing bad things. So to make that a hero for the police officers and the military, that's kind of a questionable thing. And he's sitting here and he's asked multiple designers to come up with logos to take back that logo for Black Lives Matter movements. And there's some cool designs. I don't know if you guys stopped and looked at all the designs. It's on the notes. There's some really cool designs.
Yeah, and I was talking to some people, and we're talking with other stuff, and I've come to this conclusion. Art belongs to the original owners, and it's up for them to determine how they want their images to be used. And if police want to use it or want to use something similar to that, they need to come up with their own logo. I mean, they got that blue American flag with a thin blue line. That's fine. Come up with something else. But, you can't be a vigilante and be law enforcement at the same time.
No.
Unless you're the Mandalorian.
No, I don't even think he did that. He's not a cop. So that
and he never.
Any what?
And he never pretended to be. He's just doing what he does to survive.
You asked where that logo came from. It's an old T-shirt design. I think I had it in the probably had that early 2000s. Bouncing Souls did one as well. Same thing on the back. Fuck racism. And it's theirs is for the Black Vision Collective. It's the same type thing. There's a few bands that are doing that where they're bringing out an old design, putting it on the front, and then like fuck racism on the back, and all the money's being donated. AFI, what AFI actually did too was they put up their post for Black Tuesday, and when they put it up, they had used, I believe, the word African American, and then kind of people not only called them out, but like educated them to that, and then they said they took it and they reposted it again and said, you know what? After having discussions with people, we decided to say black and use the term black. So we're gonna do that because we learn. That was what they said. We go through this and we learn. So I thought that was kind of cool that they took the time to like this happened, but you know what? Okay, we're gonna change our words.
And I think that's all most people want is just people like when you might not know something and you might use the wrong words or terms, that you stop, you have a learning moment from it. And even if you don't change yourself, that you recognize what is correct and why these sentiments are being said, and you educate yourself. And that's all we've ever wanted everybody to do with this podcast, with our lives, is just people educate yourself so you be more informed. We're not stating that you have to agree with us. I mean, we all have different opinions. We're 4 different people with 4 different opinions who run the gamut of political and social ideas. But we just want people to be informed of what's out there and to think for themselves. And I mean, that's what all punk rock has ever been, is think for yourself.
Right. And then, the nature, 3 of us are history majors with history degrees. The nature of being a history major is reading and doing the research and looking for that and developing your stance.
Yeah, can I point out, please, that people just need to read books? Like, I'm not tired of seeing all this stuff on there, but what I'm tired of is I'm tired of seeing a bunch of literature that no one's going to read. Like, it's very obvious a bunch of you are quoting stuff and you're not checking your primary sources, where stuff is from, and where, that bothers me as a teacher in general and having a history degree. That bothers me. When you repost something, it's pretty
standard though on the internet.
It's very standard on the internet, but in the age where people are saying, "Oh, you need to educate yourself and be informed," well, you really do. Like, there's a bunch of people that are hypocrites about that, who are posting shit, and then I've called some out. I've seen some stuff and have DM'd some people and be like, "Take that shit down because it's 100% not true." Like, look at this. This is what they're quoting from, but this is what the fact is, and people will be like, "Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that." I'm like, I know, because you're freaking mindless posting. Like, stop that crap. If you're gonna do something, I'm all for it. I'm all for the education, but go back and check your sources, because if it's coming from something like whatever. And again, I'm not trying to do whatever, but I saw a video recently dealing with some of the cases we have here in Riverside County that is completely wrong. It's completely wrong from a nurse, and it was her information is completely wrong. And it was, the podcast or the YouTube show or whatever that it came from it was very obvious they had an agenda. And all I had to do was look at some of the stuff they posted to be like, this has an agenda. This isn't a news show as it presents itself. This obviously has an agenda. And that kind of stuff just pisses me off. Well, learn. That's fine. Educate yourself.
We teach that as early as elementary school. You have to look for the author's opinion, the author's bias when you're looking at an article.
Yeah, which is not happening. That's what gets to me.
Yeah.
Like, I respect the difference of opinions, but it's like, okay, give me something valid from a valid source.
I mean, when I watch MSNBC, I know I'm going to get something from a left-wing slant. And that's where my politics lie, so I enjoy it. I also know that if I'm going to watch Fox News, it's going to probably piss me off because we're going to the other extreme. So, I mean, you have to know what your source is, and you have to look up, and you should look up both sides so you can find out and make an educated opinion on everything.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But all in all, that's fine. I support the movement. I support the education of people. I support us learning and growing. That's what we're supposed to do.
Learning and growing. That concludes the heavy, serious portion of this month's podcast.
Yeah. Last week, the week before, I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. And where the hell did June go, by the way? Oh, look at the end. It's already the end of June. Anyway, I spent 2 hours on the phone with Disney. 2 hours on the phone with Disney trying to figure out what I was going to do with my passes. Turns out, I ended up buying 2 of them outright. So they just get their dates extended till whenever the park opens. And then because they had we're talking about that reservation system, because I as a pass holder can only hold like 3 at a time, I got an extra month. So that means at the very earliest, my pass will expire in January, because it's going to be open because it was up in August. So I spent 2 hours on the phone trying to figure out what I was going to do with the third one, because I put that.
Now, were you
talking,
or were you just waiting on hold?
Waiting on hold, because it's been crazy. Everybody trying to get through to figure out what's going on. Because we talked about this before, but they offered some different options if you were on payments. If you were on payments, they opted you could opt to have your time extended, or to cancel it and get your prorated, like a refund on what you didn't use. So I don't really know what's going to happen, so I just chose to let's just extend it, because thinking about it now, the other 2 are going to be like that, so I might as well just make the third one like that. So at the very earliest, they're going to expire in January. Now, the thought was that they were going to open July 17th, which is actually Disneyland's birthday, but we just found out, was it yesterday, Just found out yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
That's not the case. It's not going to be the case. So officially, the word is that the state had decided that they weren't going to make any decisions on theme parks, any theme parks, which includes Knott's and like Six Flags and all that too, Universal Studios, until after the 4th of July, sometime after the 4th of July. And then there was some union issues too. Anybody want to talk about that?
Yeah, they sent out a memo. It was like a number of unions sent something out to a letter to Newsom and Iger, or just Newsom. That was one thing I don't remember. But
I hadn't heard Iger's name involved in it.
I'm sure it would have to do with both.
Maybe it was just Newsom. So telling them that they didn't feel that it was safe to go. It wasn't safe to go back. So yeah, the day they sent it, a few hours after, I guess, is when it like hit the press. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It convinced them to shut it down.
Well, did it convince them to shut it down, or was it just because the state just decided to make no decision? That's kind of what's unclear, because it all kind of happened at the same time.
I think it might have been both, because Florida is not opening also. They announced it on the same day that Florida, Disney World, is not opening on their schedule date.
I didn't know that one. Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
It seems like the union had a part to do with it, but at the same token, without getting mandates on what they need to do before early July, they're not going to have time to turn around and create a reasonable plan that's going to help these people open that park safely.
Now, today I heard that they reached a deal with the unions. I heard that today a deal was reached with the unions. So that puts them in a position to start figuring out what's going to happen as soon as they get the clearance to open. So, late July, probably. You would imagine it would be kind of late July. So I saw some of the stuff. I don't know, Dan, I don't know if you guys had heard any of this. But one of them was going to be that if you were required to work within 6 feet of guests, that they be issued face shields. That was one of the things. Mm-hmm. And maybe something to wash your hands every half an hour or something like that. Maybe that was someplace else. But I know face shields was definitely in there. I saw something about it.
Dude, I just bought like 100 face shields the other day.
Did you ever get those? I was going to ask you about that. Did you ever get the ones you had ordered originally?
Yeah, I got them. I ordered some I ordered those through Amazon. This one I went through a different source, but I wound up getting pretty much the same thing. I didn't like them at first, but I have a workaround for it, so it's not the best idea, but I like my chances still. I just cut a big giant rectangle where the eyes are, and because my problem is it's not the face shield fogging up, it's my glasses, because I'm sweating from the heat that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So my glasses are fogging up, not the actual face shield itself. So what I just did was I cut a giant square, not square, but wide enough for my eyes, and just my eyes. I have a giant chunk of face shield that covers my mouth, so I figure it's doing its purpose. I also bought 150, what are those, neck scarves that you pull?
Yeah, gators.
I bought
Black
I bought some to sell at the shop, so.
Oh, you gonna print on them?
I don't know if I'm gonna print on them. I actually would like to, and I think I might. But yeah, they seem like a good idea. The face shields, I've just got them for myself and for everybody at the shop, whoever wants one. I know Megan has one, but she doesn't like it too. Same thing. Your eyes start to sweat when you're using those things. Your eyeballs start to sweat. Everything around your eyeball, it just makes your life miserable. So, but when I cut that section out, it allowed air to come in. Thus, me not fogging up my glasses, making it a little more comfortable.
So, are you gonna cut it like in a cool triangle, like a Mandalorian?
Yes, to be honest.
I ordered some because I don't know we still don't know what it's gonna look like with us going back. If we go back. So I had ordered some regular ones that were just like the band, like around your head, and then I had kind of said, man, I'd really like something I could wear on my hat. And I found some. I can actually wear on my hat, so I ordered them. So I'll let you know. They clip to the bill. They slide onto the bill.
Oh.
So I was like, that'd be kind of cool because I can just like, it's not. I have a feeling I'm not gonna like the band around my head all day, but I wear a hat a lot, so it's figured if it just slides on here, I'm used to the hat anyway, and it's just
it's easier to wear a hat than something that you're not used to.
right.
Well,
So,
when I'm at the shop, I wear my hat backwards. I've been doing it since I
kind of
was a
have
little.
to because of like what? Well, I don't know. It's up to you. But yeah, I mean, I wear my hat a lot backwards too. But I figured if I'm at work, whatever, I'll just start wearing a hat at work and just boom.
It's a football thing. Since I've been playing football, that's how I live my life.
Honestly, most of the time I wear my hat backwards too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have it forward right now, but most of the time I actually wear my hat backwards too.
But that does sound like a really good idea that you just clip it right onto the bill. And
yeah, it just kind of slides right on there, and I'm like, okay, so it keeps it away. And if it comes around a little bit more than the other one, so it takes like I know this is an audio podcast, but it's angled a little bit, so it still covers like this area here, and it's away from my face. So I figured, okay, I still got a little bit of room for air there while keeping stuff out. So we'll see. I don't know. I thought it was a different idea. We'll try it and see what it is. I'll find something that we're comfortable in. I'm sure. You know.
Dan's doing jazz fingers there.
Should I went like this? Just give you the Ronnie James Dio. Yeah, so that's the story with Disneyland. I don't know. We'll get a reopening date, and gonna have to see how it goes as far as them enforcing the rules. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the stuff that is open in Florida, but a lot of people are saying that it's bad as far as people following the mask mandates.
Oh, heck yeah.
They're not going to. Yeah, they ran into that problem in Shanghai. And no one was social distancing. They're just going to have to get over it. That's because it's not going to work. These people, they're just not going to do it. Mm-hmm. To think that they're going to try to get them to really strongly do it, nah, you're just going to be kidding yourself. They're not going to do it. You know how butt to butt and how crowded it's going to be on opening day? I was going to try to go.
No, they can't do that. No, the reservation system doesn't allow that. Did you see the reservation system?
No, did they change it? Well, go ahead.
Okay, so it was like you go on and reserve it like you would reserve any kind of dining. So you go in there and you tell it, you pick a day. So let's say I wanted to go the 17th if it hypothetically opened on the 17th. Okay, so I picked the 17th. It's an important day in your life. And then it was all spaced out, like timing. So you either had 8 a.m. arrival or like 11 a.m. arrival. And then you had to put in who all was going with you. You had to have that many too. So they're fully aware of how many guests are going to be in the park. And let's be honest, if I went at 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be there all day. I wouldn't, because that's not my normal routine anyway. I wouldn't stay all day at Disneyland, not because of anything of this, because if I went at 11 o'clock in the morning, I just wouldn't be there all day. So I'd go spend 4 or 5 hours in the park. Okay, so I didn't see how far it went back as like your arrival time, but it did space it out like that, so it was that. And you know, people, especially pass holders, they're not going to stay all day. Right. They're going to go for the time that they want to do what they want to do and then leave. So
I think with that stuff, day, people just want to be there because it's the anniversary day,
which was stupid to begin with. That was dumb.
Yeah.
But the stuff that's open in Florida, the other theme parks, because Disney World obviously never opened, they're saying that people are not wearing masks and stuff or whatever. Yeah, that's true. But the parks actually aren't busy. They're not, because like people are still, debate, do I want to do this, whatever. That's what they're saying about Vegas too. It's just not that busy.
I would imagine there's still a lot of people that are like, F that. I don't even want to go out there. I don't want to go. I want to stay as far away from all of that. So, yeah, I would imagine that would take a hit on attendance, causing it to be a little less crowded.
It's people that want to do beaches and barbecues and that type of stuff that are causing any spikes. It's not.
But even the beaches, I've seen pictures of beaches where it's not crowded at all. So interestingly enough, Diggs and I, when Shanghai did open, we were talking, and somehow he brought up the wait times on his phone and sent me screenshots. And the wait times for stuff, I'm going to be honest with you, they were normal wait times. They were what we consider to be normal wait times. But I don't think it's because necessarily that it was busy. I think people thought, okay, I can get this and I can get on a bunch of rides. No, you can't, because the rides have to be social distance too. So you take a ride like Star Tours, which holds like 40 people. You don't hold 40 people anymore. You hold 12. You know what I mean? So, right. Well, yeah, think about it. That's going to mean every other row. It's every other row, because you can't do every row. You have to do every other row, and you have to have
one party per row.
One party per row, or at least 2 seats between 2 different parties. So if you got 2 different parties of 3 people, there's got to be 2 seats in between them, so that takes up an entire row. like that. That's how it's going to be. So your wait times are not going to be shorter. It's going to be the same. There's just not going to be as many people because you can't do that. You can't get in a cabin of 40. You get in a cabin of 12. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff is going to be almost impossible to distance, which is why they're not doing character greets and all that kind of stuff either. So but I think that's what I think. I think people just thought, oh, well, no one's going to go. It's going to be nobody there, so I can get on everything. No, you're not going to. That's not going to work like that. Yeah, like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride over there. That's the, or whatever it was. I can't remember what ride it was. It was a 60-minute wait. A 60-minute wait, social distance. How is that any different from 60-minute wait here? It's not.
And part of that wait also has to do with the fact that, like you said, they have to strategize how they're going to load that cabin.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to go right away. I know it's not going to be open for a little bit still, but I'm gonna just see how it pans out. When I deem it is okay, I think we can handle this safely. Then I'll go back. Not every weekend like we were doing, but I'll get my money's worth out of my pass, and then figure out the game plan for by the time it expires next year.
How many times do you have to go in order to pay for the pass? For yours specifically.
Specifically for mine.
I know you've done the math.
No, I never have done the math. 10? 10 to 12?
Sounds fair.
It was always somewhere between 8 and 10. It was never like crazy. If you went once a month, you definitely got your passes worth.
Yeah, me and Rick have had these conversations before. Like, well, how many times would you have to go to justify your price? Well, you just go this many times, and
I made that easy. I probably made that before the shutdown.
Yeah,
just in 2020 alone.
Yeah,
in 2020 alone, I probably made that before the shutdown actually happened. But definitely from the time I had my pass, when I bought it in August, I definitely had that because we went once a week during the summer, sometimes twice, and then in January, February, and March before it shut down, I was there pretty much every weekend. We were there just doing whatever, just a little getaway to walk around, get out of the house. I was there. The last time I was there was the week before it shut down. I was there that last weekend.
Dan, you have the top of the line pass, right?
Yeah. Show does.
There were years where we would calculate, and it would cost us easily $20,000 to go the amount of times we went.
I never calculated because I never cared.
Like, seriously, I did the math one time with the four of us, and I was like, it was easily something between $15,000 and $20,000 what it cost us to go, just admission.
You know the meme with the string and all that stuff on the wall? That's Rick trying to figure out how much he spent on it.
Just once in a while.
Yeah. So that's what's there. All right, what else is in this thing, man?
All right, so guess what? Joe Rogan gave a fortune from his podcast. I hope someday we can make $100 a year from ours. So Joe Rogan inked a deal with Spotify, and it's reportedly worth $100 million. And he didn't have to give anything up other than just being on Spotify.
Yeah, well, I mean, YouTube's screwing with them. They're screwing with everybody that has podcasts, to be quite honest. I mean, they censor everything, and the whole idea behind a podcast is it's not supposed to be censored. You can talk about whatever you want.
Right.
So when they start demonetizing podcasters because of their issues with what they're talking about, that's, if there's another option that comes along, wouldn't it be fair to look at it? And it just so happened to be Spotify throwing $100 million at him. So they're going to let him do whatever he wants. He can have whoever he wants. YouTube won't let him talk about COVID-19 with specialists. They've already said that you'd be pulled. Those episodes would be pulled, and you wouldn't get monetized for it if you do it on YouTube. Spotify said you can do that here if you want. So it's just a better deal. It's just an all-around better deal. It's a better deal for podcasters in general, because now people are going to follow. I thought I saw Joey Diaz post yesterday on a response to all that crap he's going through. He mentioned specifically, I'll see you guys on Spotify. So if he's going, imagine he's going to go there, and all these other podcasters are going to go. Yeah. They're all going to leave YouTube. So, I mean, that's what they get for censoring everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I get you got to censor some things. Like, there's some hateful speech that's out there, but I mean, Joe Rogan's always been fair, and like when he doesn't jive with something, he's critical of them, and he's asking them hard hitting questions like, no, what about this, and this? Like, and they always have an answer, but he gives these people a platform to speak on different types of topics. I mean, look when he had that guy who found a wrecked Tesla and he rebuilt it. I mean, nobody else gave him a time of day except for Vice and Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. Were you gonna say something, Rick?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh. Yeah, it's a better opportunity for him. And somebody did call him out before. I read an article where the guy said in one of your podcasts, you did say you wouldn't go to Spotify. I saw that episode and I saw him say it, but then, obviously he changed his tone. Throw $100 million at me, I'm going to change my tone too. So.
I mean, he's foolish not to go for that, what they offered him.
Like you said, you offer the money, you start censoring things on YouTube. You can change your mind. It's okay to change your mind, people. Yeah.
So it's a lot of people are starting to leave YouTube. There's a lot of people are starting to leave Facebook, and that honestly kind of needs to happen because that's how they start losing their power. They keep trying to hold over everybody like a carrot. So I think it's pretty cool that he did that deal. It's going to open the door for a lot of other podcasters, especially people who do really well with it. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing.
It's going to end up being the transition of radio and the DJ in general too, though, because it's fallen apart on mainstream national radio, or local radio stations.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing that some of these people are losing out on like these public radio stations. Maybe it provides them the opportunity to do something like this. Maybe not make the 100 millions that Rogan's making, but I mean, obviously, what you're doing, what you're doing behind the mic, and to do it on your own podcast where you can actually make money for yourself. That's
right.
Seems like it'd be a pretty cool thing. So what happened with this thing with KLOS?
It's been a trend, man, for a while now. We've talked about it before. We've talked about how several people were fired from K-Rock this past year. Kevin, Ali, and Jensen, they lost their positions right around the start of the pandemic. Frosty was staying home.
Remember we talked about this from our first early podcast when Jimbo and the Morning Stiffy were fired. And Rodney on the Rock. I mean, that was some of our first stories that we talked about.
Yeah. And this trend keeps continuing. I know Frosty from the Frosty, Heidi, and Frank show was staying home, and in the middle of it, same thing. He got that, oh, yeah, you're not coming back, basically.
Wow.
So it's the Heidi and Frank show officially. He harbors no ill will to them. It wasn't their fault, But it's the same thing, and I guess KLOS cut a bunch of their DJs. The only other one that's a standout name, for me at least, was Steve Jones. Steve Jones went from being all week, 12 to 2, and he had a great show. Did you ever listen to the Jonesy's Jukebox?
I always knew about it, but I've actually never seen it. I just don't listen to the radio anymore.
I would do it like if I was going
Steve
to lunch.
Jones wasn't the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And he had such a knowledge of music, and he just anybody that got on there, he could get them talking about deep cuts and just anything super deep, and he could basically play whatever he wanted. He played like old blues and just all kinds of stuff, not just what the station wanted him to play.
Yeah.
He had a little more freedom, and then he went. They ended up pushing him to just Fridays, and then they let him go altogether too.
Wow.
Well, he's probably at home rocking on his guitar, wearing his tantarans, because he's famous for posting those pictures on his Facebook,
yes, he is.
Instagram account of him in some banana huggers, like doing shit. I listened to him every once in a while when I was off. I'd listen to Jonesy every once in a while, depending who was on. Because he knew so many people. Because what you don't know about Steve Jones is, he's a guitarist for the Sex Pistols, but he's a fan of progressive rock. Like, he's a rock fan. He was just doing that because that's what he was doing at the time.
Pay the bills.
Yeah, but he's a known musician. He actually is pretty good with the guitar. So he's played on a number of people's different albums and helped them write some stuff. So he knew a lot of different people. It wouldn't be uncommon for him to... I tuned in one time and he was talking to Tom Cruise, not Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp. He was talking to Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp's in that I can't remember what band Johnny Depp's in. Johnny's
in a couple bands.
No.
So he was doing that, and then I think one time he was
Hollywood
on
Vampire.
There you go, Hollywood Vampire. Yeah, because it was Joe Perry was the other person that was on, and I tuned in one time and he was talking to Paul Stanley, and it's just like big name people, like truly big name people, because he knew everybody. So it's just kind of different. Sometimes, I mean, the interviews were good. Sometimes the music played. I don't like progressive rock, at all. So if he was going through a bit where he was when he didn't have a guest, he was just playing music, talking to his producer. I didn't listen too much then because I don't like, if he was playing progressive rock, it's not my bag. So I just was like, next.
I mean, you don't want to hear like a 12-minute Yes song?
Nope. Not one bit.
They'd do that, and then later on he'd play an old Stone song, and I'm talking old Stones, not popular stuff necessarily.
Yeah,
but
they'll be fine once it gets back to playing live shows and be able to record music. It'll be fine.
But stations are changing the way they work in the mainstream radio, and now it looks like something like Spotify is going to be the way to go. Podcasts and things like that are going to be easily the evolution of radio at this point.
Yeah, you know what weird happened? DC Comics. Did you hear about DC Comics?
Speaking of other evolutions, yeah.
They are separating from Diamond Comics. So Diamond Comics is the distributor. They're a monopoly. They're a monopoly. It's like Ticketmaster. Diamond Comics is really the only place you can get comics because they bought up some smaller companies years ago, and they were basically the place to actually get comics in the comic shops. Well, the comic companies contract with Diamond to get their comics into shops. DC's they were negotiating a new deal, and then all of a sudden decided we are not going to do this. We're going to go a different way, which surprised a lot of people because it's such a big name in the industry. Matter of fact, do you want to talk some more about that, Xavier? I got something I want to read, but I got to find it.
Yeah, DC is probably DC and Marvel are probably the only companies that can pull this off because they have the parent company that has the money to do this. I mean, with DC, they're owned by Time Warner. Time Warner already has their publishing company. They have Time Life, and they could get their comics into different places through that method. Disney, I don't think they have a direct publishing company, but they are big enough where that they need to distribute something through Marvel. With Marvel, it can't be done like, oh, you don't want Marvel comics? Okay, fuck you then. We'll find another shop that wants our comics. So they're the only two companies that can do this. I mean, come on, you're not going to want Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. I mean, I know there's so many more, and then plus they have the Vertigo line. I mean, how many fucking people just watch Watchmen on fucking HBO? And they have Watchmen now. Come on. You're not going to want to you're not going to want to work with DC. You're talking about the second biggest comic company. I mean, I know they're the original comic company, but Marvel's kind of taken the edge just a little bit with their movies and through all the multimedia platforms they have.
So I'm
working with Disney, yeah.
I'm on a mailing list for a comic shop in Anaheim, actually, about maybe 10 minutes from Disneyland. So I got an email from them this week, and here's what it actually said. It said, "Hi, everybody. DC has essentially turned ordering their books into bizarro world. Nothing makes sense at the moment. With that in mind, if you want any of the following next issues due to arrive 7/14 that are not already on your pull list, we need to know by this Sunday, or you won't get them." And then it named off a whole bunch of stuff. For any DC titles due after the above date, please let us know as soon as you know you want them. And then, it talks about how they can order over the phone and stuff. But, like, even comic shops right now are trying to figure out, like, how's this going to work? Because it's ordering from two different things, but you're talking about a name that... Well, here, I'll give you the names just so you kind of know, like, how big we're talking about. Aquaman, Catwoman, Daphne Burns, Justice League, Looney Tunes, Metal Men, Nightwing, Jimmy Olsen, and Teen Titans. That's what it mentions just for that date. Because that's probably when the transition is going to be made.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll have stuff figured out after that, but it's a big thing. Speaking of Catwoman, that bitch, Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin, that bitch.
What a segue.
So she
All right,
gets
cool
the
cats and
last laugh. Wow.
So is it
Yes,
me or does it
no.
seem like Tiger King was so long ago?
It does.
It does.
Because it
Well,
happened like right as quarantine broke out. It
Yeah.
seems like it was so long ago because everybody watched it all at once. Even the memes, man. I had somebody I was trading memes with like every day. You know, the Tiger King meme every day. We'd send them back and forth to each other, and then it kind of like we've slowly gone on to other different types of memes. It hasn't been like that, you know, because there hasn't been a whole lot. But bitch went out in the end, man. She got awarded Joe Exotic Zoo, which actually isn't even Joe Exotic's anymore, right? It belongs to the
No,
other
but
guy,
Jeff Lowe had like
Yeah,
120
Jeff Lowe.
days to vacate.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's crazy that it winds up in going down like that. Would not have thought it would have ended like that.
No.
Hey, I don't think this is true, but I saw something that said, I think Vic posted it, that if you sent something to Joe Exotic, he would just sign it.
Yeah, he would sign it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too. I saw it like on a different news source, like a third party news source.
How true do you think that is? Because you would think his autograph's worth something.
Dude, he's in jail. He ain't got
Maybe
shit to
you got to pay for it.
Nah, he's saturated the market at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
Like
cause
a
I,
Pete
I was
Rose-
gonna gonna send that to the person that I trade memes with. I'm like, hey, it's up on you. Try this one out. See if it actually works. Send him a fucking letter. See if we get something back. Because if you send one and you get something, I'll send one.
Yeah, 'cause wasn't it was like a baseball card?
It was a baseball card.
He
Yeah.
signed it. I've never played baseball in my life.
Yep. Love Joe Exotic. It was funny. So,
I gotta find a picture of a liger from Napoleon Dynamite and send it to him. See if he sends it back.
It's pretty much my favorite animal.
that was pretty funny. It's HBO Max. You checked it out?
Oh, dude.
Hold
it's
on.
fucking
First of all,
badass.
what's the hype with HBO Max?
Okay, so it's just another streaming service, but HBO got the rights to like a shitload of stuff. I mean, dude, like, so you have all the HBO and what's on Cinemax. Like a lot of Time Warner properties are on there.
Hold on.
Plus,
Do they have those movies we stayed up late watching that we shouldn't have?
no, those were on Cinemax.
Yeah, you said Cinemax.
Oh no, they don't have those.
Oh man, no, I'm not interested.
Okay, but they have the Criterion movies on there. So if there's like a Criterion movie or a movie that had a Criterion edition that they have the rights to, it's on there. They have the 4K version of Night of the Living Dead. They have like all the early Godzilla films. The James Dean's films are on there. I just spent like all the HBO originals are on there. I was listening to Rogan's podcast and he had
The guys from The Sopranos.
Thierry, what the hell are those guys' names? Michael Imperioli and Steven Shrippa. They're talking about like, yeah, we do a podcast of talking about going back and watching The Sopranos and talking about them. HBO came out just about the time that Max came out, just about the time that we went into quarantine, and The Sopranos was the second highest rated television show that's being streamed on HBO. And that show hasn't been on over 10 years.
Yeah.
And everybody's already seen it by now. I mean, you don't think Game of Thrones, Watchmen, whatever else they got on there is going to be the number one? No. Sopranos was number 2. This is crazy. I think number 1 was Westeros. So, like, if you could afford to do it, like, add another streaming service to your what you already have, HBO Max is definitely cool. I mean, I'm doing Disney Plus and Netflix, so I got HBO for a trial. It was great. I'm not going to continue with it, but like if I was to eliminate something, I would definitely pick up HBO Max.
I said, you know why? Because you woke up this morning and got yourself a gun.
Exactly.
Mama always said you'd be the chosen one.
Oh, they also have a lot of anime on HBO Max too. But I don't watch anime, so I don't know what the fuck that is. So
He watches hentai exclusively.
I was going to say, is that the dirty anime?
no, they don't have the dirty anime.
Only the good stuff.
Tentacle stuff. All
I
right,
thought
time
all
for a
the good
break.
stuff was on Crunchyroll.
Time for a break.
So we're back, right?
We're back.
We're back. So I saw this. I thought it was pretty fascinating that, one of the most polarizing characters in Star Wars has got to be Jar Jar Binks. And poor Ahmed Best, man, he got a lot of slack for that, and he was really down for a long time.
Man, he's like Rose Tico, but before.
Oh man, he's one of those guys. He was depressed after everything happened, man. He was straight out depressed. But as some of the kids have grown up now, and they're like, you know what, the prequel trilogy is bad because that's what the kids grew up with, man. These kids in their early 20s, that's their trilogy. And more power to them, At this point, he's been embraced a little bit more, and he's back. He's going to take on a new role. He's going to be the host of a Star Wars themed game show on YouTube's Star Wars Kids channel. So as I look at I watched the preview for the show and things like that, it kind of feels like almost like the old Legends of the Hidden Temple show. Dan, you remember that one? Samara?
Yep.
Hello?
No, he said yeah.
He said yeah.
We got you, man. It's supposed to be filmed at Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, is it?
And yeah.
So when is this going to
So
happen?
it's
Unknown?
Strength of Cinema. I don't remember if it had the date. I'm looking at the article right now.
Well, I just wonder if it had already been filmed or it's something to be determined.
It's already been filmed. They've already started airing it, I believe.
Really?
I just haven't watched it.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with me? Okay.
It's because it's on YouTube and not on Disney Plus.
Well, I haven't even watched Disney Plus, but it was under the radar there. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's something, good for him. Nobody deserves to be treated the way he was treated.
Nah.
And you gotta remember, at the end of the day, he was an actor accepting a gig, and who's gonna say no to Star Wars?
Exactly.
No.
Not even Samuel Jackson, motherfucker.
Samuel L. Jackson begged to be in Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. Not even.
He said, "Make me a stormtrooper. I don't care."
Not even. What the hell's 007's name? Craig something.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
There you go. Yeah. Not even him, man. Yeah, even B. Arthur wanted to be a part of Star Wars.
Oh, don't go there.
We don't talk about the holiday special.
No.
We don't talk about the holiday special. It's the one thing we don't talk about.
We only had like a segment on our podcast about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so we knew it was happening, but Celebration officially got postponed. I knew that wasn't going to happen. They also I'll talk about that in a second too, but they also postponed the I had a ticket for the Star Wars night, the Disney After Dark Star Wars night. I had a ticket for that, and they postponed that too, a couple days after the fact. But the deal they're giving us is, if you want, they will just push it to 2022, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to let it push over to 2022.
Is 2022 not 2021?
Yeah, it's not 2021. I thought you were the one that said that they had something booked at the convention center. I don't know if they had something booked.
Oh, no. I'm the one. I forgot that was 2022. I thought it was 2021. I'm just guessing, because they built conventions so far out in advance that it would be booked in 2021.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what they had, planned because we never got that far. So they're probably in the works to do it. Maybe they just stuck to what their schedule was going to be anyway every couple of years. I don't know, but or they figure by 2022 everything's going to completely be back to normal. Well, no, I don't mean that. But you know what I mean. Well enough.
The new normal.
Yeah, the new normal will be well underway by 2022. Well, which is totally fine with me. So they pushed our tickets to 2022, or they will if I don't respond in anything by August. Yeah, that's the one. If I don't respond in anything by August, they'll just push my ticket to 2022. The hotel room that Rob and I had, they canceled the hotel room. So when hotels go up again, I'm going to have to get a hotel room again. But I will. I had a room at the Hilton right there.
Oh, so wow.
Yeah, that's what we wanted. We wanted to just walk out and everywhere. Yeah, that's what we wanted. So I'll do that again when it happens. And just, it'll be safe for everybody. That's completely fine. So merchandise. We had merchandise that was supposed to have come to us because it's the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Empire.
Yeah, so we had the option of canceling that too, which obviously I didn't do. I'm going to be receiving my merchandise at some point. I have I think a hat. I got a thing with hats. I don't know why. And I think a couple of shirts. So yeah, I'll take it as it comes. I'll look forward to it in 2022. I don't know what Disney's going to do as far as that. I don't know if they're just going to push that for the 2 years as well, because it was meant to coincide with Celebration, or if they're just going to have it some different time. But I still have a valid ticket for that too, that they just postponed. So I'll make it to that too. And I would have been, if they had opened the park in July, that event was to take place, it would have been the end of August anyway. I would have gone. I would have gone to that because it's already a controlled number of people to begin with, because it's a special event party. So I was like, I'll do that. That might have actually even been the first time that I had gone back. You know, we'll see. So I don't know. I'm open to it. Like I said, I'll attend stuff as I find it safe. But it was a lot like Comic-Con as far as pushing back stuff just for that time, or you can cancel and refund. They get a refund. But I see no reason for that. Like, I just see it as I don't have to worry about getting tickets again.
Right.
So I'll go. I'll be there, and in 2 years, I'll report.
Yeah, so maybe
I would be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised if you could get a ticket now, because I'm sure some of them are going to end up getting refunded. So
yeah, that's
if
what
you
I
thought
was
about
planning
it,
to do. Maybe go on a Friday or Saturday for the convention.
Yeah, I mean, you can look into that now that you know, hey, I might have a chance at getting some different tickets. So, who knows? Who knows?
No, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if that Star Wars night happens sooner than 2022, because it's not the first time they're doing a Star Wars night with a Disney After Dark. So
No, but a whole selling point of a Disney After Dark was some of the character meet and greets. So they're going to have to up their game a little bit, because they can't do that right now. So, I know, we'll see. Like I said, whenever it is, I'll probably end up going anyway, but with a mask on, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
A Mandalorian mask?
So it's where a Mandalorian gate.
Hey, it covers my face. Passes the lighter test. So maybe. Never know. Never know. 9 Inch Nails, I know nothing about.
Rick?
They're another group that's doing good, right, X? I didn't put that one in.
Yeah, so basically 9 Inch Nails, they have a bunch of tour merchandise, so they said, like, we're not going to go on tour, our tour is canceled, so fuck it. We're going to sell our tour, and the money's going to go to the COVID-19. And it's our food banks, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I read, food banks. So good for them, man. Good for them.
Yeah, so they're just making good, like, hey, we got this shit standing around. You're not going to want to have a shirt with a tour date that, like, you don't actually go to the tour date, but, I mean, like, it was postponed, so we're just going to sell this shit, get rid of it. We got stocks of it, buy it, enjoy it.
I'd buy it.
Tell your friend, like, I went to the show.
If I didn't go,
I know your wife's going to buy it.
No, that'd be cool, man, because that'd be like having a 2018 Dodgers World Series champion shirt. You know, they didn't get it, but it's cool to have.
So
yeah.
it's not like buying the WrestleMania I wasn't there t-shirt?
No, you want the one that says I was there.
The other ones they bought at the swap meet?
WrestleMania's biggest fan, it has the fan on it.
What do they do with those? What do they on?
It?
Yeah, what do they do with the ones like they were printed, man? 2018 Dodgers championship shirts, they were printed.
They send them to no. So here's what I've heard they've done. They send them to like countries that need like clothing and stuff like that. Cause like that's what they do with all the Super Bowl shirts. They send them to different places. I mean, they have like a couple thousand of them. They're not a lot, but they let them send to people like who don't know who the fuck the Buffalo Bills are, and they lost like fucking 4 championships or 4 Super Bowls in a row.
The same shirt every year.
I'm gonna jump back a second. You know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about the news that dropped today about Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Did you hear about that?
Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Splash Mountain, in amongst everything that's going on, is going to end up being rethemed after Princess and the Frog. So after all the stuff that's going on, because of the Song of the South references, which actually aren't, other than the cartoon characters, I can't think of anything else in the ride that actually has a Song of the South reference other than the song, Zippity Doo Dah. Rick, can you think of anything that's in that ride other than just the cartoon portion of it?
You have to be careful because, like you said, the animals, it's the slave culture is connected to that. It's the Brer Rabbit stories. But that's
Yeah.
questionable because I always thought that was more of a the stories that they were using to, I don't know, man, because it was the stories they were using to kind of overcome what was going on. It was the cunning person being smarter than that, you know, the slave being more cunning and smarter than the slave owner almost.
See, the only story I remember from Song of the South is the Tar Baby.
That's not in there. I can't think of any reference to that in the ride.
Okay.
The only major references are Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox and Brer Bear.
Yeah. Oh, and the ravens, the crows.
Yeah.
Maybe that's about it. They're subtle, and to be honest with you, kids wouldn't know them because that movie hasn't been available here in the States for over 30 years. Because the NAACP and I think ACLU had blocked it. Now, I got a bootleg copy. I have a bootleg copy on VHS that I haven't watched in years, just because I wanted to see what the hype was. As far as a movie, have you ever seen it? Anybody ever seen it?
No. I mean, I might have seen bits and pieces of it, but I don't remember. And like I said, only one I remember is a Tar Baby, and that was because somebody brought the little like a storybook record when I was in school.
Okay, yeah, because I think the last time it was available was like 89 or something. Real old.
Well, I heard something, you know, stories like, you know, similar to kind of like the old Little Rascals, where they had that overt racial tone too, where, you know, you'd get buckwheat in the cave and all you saw
were his eyes and his teeth.
Still funny.
No, well, and I'm gonna look this up, but I think the problem is how it portrayed it, because Uncle Remus is the black character in there, and he's the storyteller. He's the one telling the stories about Brer Bear and Brer Rabbit to two little white kids. And when the story actually is supposed to take place, they live on a plantation in the South. You start to figure out, oh, those are his owners. He's a slave. But it isn't explicitly mentioned any time in the movie. And I think part of the problem was it glosses over slavery. Even though this movie is supposed to take place during slavery, Uncle Remus is never treated like a slave. And I think that's like, it's not the actual depiction of what history is supposed to be like. I think that's a big part of what people have wrong with the movie. As far as the movie itself, it's okay. Like,
it's the happy slave culture is what they refer to it as.
Right. It's that, like, and Uncle Remus was, because he's an old man. He's telling these kids stories. They're laughing. They're doing things together. Mm-hmm. And I think, yeah, you're right. It's the happy slave thing. So it glossed over slavery because it never mentions it, but you're supposed to get that once you start to figure it out that he is a slave, you're supposed to think, oh, well, he's a happy slave. And that wasn't the intent. It's a freaking kids movie, for crying out loud. But, okay, I understand. I understand it's dated and that kind of stuff, but Tony Baxter, who is an Imagineer who designed a lot of your favorite rides, is the one that designed Splash Mountain, and he just remembers the cartoons from when he was a kid. So that's why when it needed something, it just kind of fit the mood. So they decided with Princess and the Frog, which brings up some interesting comments. Some people, of course, are like, oh, yeah, it's about time they changed that out and blah, blah, blah. And then some people, all of a sudden, this is their favorite ride, which tends to happen, oh, my God, that's my favorite ride. No, it isn't. Yeah. You just are mad that they're changing something.
You know what? I mean, I'm okay with them changing it, not because of the race thing, but because the ride is irrelevant because people don't know these stories anymore. It's like the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. Nobody knows what the fuck the Swiss Family Robinson is anymore. So it's like, we got to update what's going on. Let's make something more contemporary that people are going to understand.
And now some of the problem people are having now with Princess and the Frog is the fact that they're like, well, it doesn't fit there in that land. Okay, but it has Princess and the Frog has a bunch of animals in it. It's called Critter Country.
Yep.
Okay. Like, let's stretch it out a little bit. The entrance to Splash Mountain is at the exit to the Haunted Mansion. Which is in New Orleans Square.
Oh, it fits perfectly.
So you could stretch out New Orleans Square all the way to the mountain and be that, or just, maybe even rename it, go from Critter Country back to Bear Country and just leave Winnie the Pooh there. And that's Bear Country and the Hungry Bear, or kind of Bear Country and the not the Mile Bar, what's the name of it? Pooh Corner over there. That's kind of it fits in. You can make it fit. That's easier there than it is in I understand in Walt Disney World. It's in Frontierland. Splash Mountain is in Frontierland. So I heard they were going to take the frog and put a cowboy hat on it, like they did to the Bob's Big Boy in Norco.
Yippee-ki-yay.
That's a joke. Yeah. Yeah, but people were actually mad about that. It doesn't fit in Critter Country. Oh my God, here we go.
You know,
you know what? Karen needs to stop complaining.
Karen?
Yeah.
You know, even in terms of dark rides, you're talking about most of those animatronics in Splash Mountain being from America Sings. So they're already close to 50 years old. You know, 40 years old at the minimum, you know. Those things need to be replaced. How many of the rides in Fantasyland have already had those big pieces replaced?
And they could be, and there's no reason to actually get rid of them. You just kind of retheme it to the thing. Like you're telling me, you know, the biggest part with all the animals is the boat, is the big Mark Twain type boat. What do you call those? Freaking paddle
Steamboats. Paddle boats.
Paddle boats. It's that big paddle boat scene, right? After you go down the drop, you go past that big paddle boat scene. You can totally make that Princess and the Frog. That's the whole bayou type that you can get that going on. That works. That ride works as a bayou. I'm sorry, you can just make that work. So, I'm not upset by it. I'm fine. I don't care. And in the long run, it's a freaking ride. What am I going to be mad about? So,
I got
what everybody gets back to. You know, Walt said Disneyland is never complete, so.
And not only that, if you don't like it, then stop going to Disneyland. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to keep on going, so shut the fuck up.
Hey, the last time I got on that ride, I had my two kids, and I was there with Diggs, and Diggs has a friend of his. He takes her kid every once in a while to Disneyland. He's about the same age as my kids. So, and they're friends. They get along and stuff. So they had said, "Hey, Dad, we want to get on Splash Mountain." And I was like, I was with Diggs and Rob, and I was like, "Hey, you guys want to get on Splash Mountain?" They're like, "No." I was like, well, the kids want to get on, so I'll take them, but they're going to ride in front, okay? So I was like, I'll ride in the back. Yeah, as soon as we get up to the line, guess where they all jump? In the back. Yeah, who ends up in the front? The heavy guy. Me and 3 kids behind me. Dude, we hit that first drop, I kid you not, Dan, wall of water over my entire head. I was completely soaked. I was completely soaked, dude. Like I had to go and into the bathroom, into the stall, take off my shirt and wring it out. I sat down on a chair and took off my shoes and socks and wring them out. And Lord knows I hate wet socks. Biggest pet peeve I have is I can't stand wet socks. Wringing them out. There was no part of me that was dry, dude. Not a single part of it. My wallet was wet. It was bad. Like just this wall of water. I have a video of it somewhere. I should post it up somewhere. I'm freaking just drenched.
Oh man,
crazy. Yeah.
The last time I rode Splash Mountain, I left my boxers at Disneyland.
Oh, I should have. I should have taken mine off and squeezed them out because Lord knows I was doing that waddle. I was like, yeah, this is wet, dude. Everything's wet.
I wore Adidas just basketball shorts. I wore Adidas basketball shorts and I was just freeballing it the rest of the day. I was so glad I wore those shorts because anything else, I would have been miserable.
Hey, was I with you that one time, X? We went. I think you might have been there, X, back in the day when I got wet, like soaked on that ride. I remember I was already dating my wife at the time, but we got off and my socks were soaked. And again, I cannot stand wet socks. I straight took them off and sat on a bench for like 20 minutes and I wrung them out and let them dry before I put them back on. I'm sitting there chilling at Disneyland and no shoes and no socks on a bench waiting for my damn things to dry because I was like, I ain't going anywhere. I can't stand this.
I don't remember that, but I might have been there.
Maybe. Yeah, it was back in those days when all of us had passes and we were going. So, like, I don't know. It was pretty funny. I thought, I'm going to find that video now. I'm going to post that shit somewhere. Where we at, man? Where we at?
So let's skip that one Tiger Army and we'll just go to Live Hour.
Yeah. Hey, Tiger Army canceled their tour. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're the last ones that could cancel it. That's why it was kind of funny. But
I think everybody was just kind of waiting to see what was gonna happen because you got a lot of money invested in that.
Yeah.
I don't blame that at all. All right. Yeah. Did you guys look at that list or what? What were we talking about? What are you looking at first? What is it? I'll let you talk
If you
about
didn't
it
look at
first,
it,
so I
you
can
can
actually.
about
No, I looked at the list. I want to bring it up.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
I want to actually bring
check
up the
out the
albums.
link.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing it up on
opening
the
it
laptop.
right now.
Yeah, me too. What
All
are we
right,
talking
so
about? Though?
So Loudwire has like the top 25 punk hardcore songs or albums with no weak songs. So I'll go through it really quick, just to name them, and we'll see what
Hold on. Let me bring it up.
Bad Brains, Bad Religion, No Control, Black Flag, Damaged, The Clash, London Calling, The Damned, Dead Kennedys, Fresh Fruits for Rotting Vegetables, Descendants, Milo to College, Fear, The Record, Germs, GI, Gloss, Demo.
I've never heard that album.
Yeah, never heard that one. Guttermouth, Friendly People, The Meanies, 10% Weird.
I haven't heard that album.
Yeah, neither have I. I never heard of them either.
Oh, I have.
Minor Threat, Complete Discography. Minutemen, Double Nickels on the Dime.
I haven't heard
No
that album.
Effects, Punk and Drublic. Propaganda, Failed States.
No,
I actually just heard that album.
no.
That's a pretty good album.
Ramones,
That's not
Rocket to Russia. Rancid and Out Come the Wolves.
Should be number one.
Refuse, The Shape to Come.
Yeah,
It's a good album.
Sex Pistols, Nevermind the Bullocks.
only because of what it is.
Yeah. Sick of It All, Built to Last.
Yes, that's a damn good album.
Damn good album.
Iggy Pop and the Studios, Raw Power, which is probably their second best album. I think Funhouse is a little bit better. Strike Anywhere, Exit English. I'm
Can we
not
stop?
familiar with them.
Can we stop for a second? So we played them in our last podcast. I really wasn't even aware of them. I know the name, but I wasn't aware of them. But the songs that we played on, the songs we played on the last podcast were really good. I actually really liked them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it was a thing, dude.
Yeah, they'd be a band you'd really be into.
Yeah,
especially if you're a fan of even Rise Against fans. They
Yeah.
eat this shit. If you're not aware of this band, they would eat this shit alive. It was pretty good stuff.
Suicidal Tendencies, their first album, Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah.
And
The last one.
X Los Angeles. The ones that I'm familiar with are all excellent albums. There's a lot of bands that I'm not familiar with and not heard of their albums all the way through, but I agree with like the ones that they listed on here are fantastic albums. I do agree that Out Comes the Wolves should probably be number one, but I don't think there's no order to this.
No. It's them just saying, it's not saying they're like the best albums of the band. They're just saying these albums are solid listens from start to finish. You don't skip a track.
I don't think that Propaganda album's the one. I don't think it's that one.
You don't think that's the one where you don't skip a track?
No. Propaganda is unique in that they kind of changed style after the first two albums, but definitely after the third album. Their style's completely different. It went from being that like fat style pop punk, melodic hardcore kind of thing to way more of a metal, almost progressive album. That album right there, Failed States. Dan, you just told me you just listened to it. It was good. It's very much a progressive style metal album. It's not really so much a punk album. I don't think so. I listened to it.
Stopped
last
going on
week
at the
and-
shop.
Yeah, I listened to it last week and is their time signatures are different. It's just weird. It's not bad, but Propaganda after like Today's Empire, Tomorrow's Ashes, they kind of lost me. Not that I'm not a fan. I just was like, this is not the style of music that I like.
Sometimes it'll come up like when I'm listening to Spotify. It'll just the song will come up and I'll save the album and when I'm at the shop or something I'll listen to it.
Right.
I'll listen to the album on as background noise. But I'm not that familiar with Propaganda as a whole discography, as I am like Bad Religion. So.
And, that's been the big debate. I'm in that Bad Religion fan page group now on Facebook, and that's everyone always talks about No Control, No Control. I like No Control a lot, but for me, it's Suffer.
Yeah, it's Suffer. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's always been Suffer.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
The Minutemen album is it's different. It's good, but it's different.
Mhm.
It's got a lot of jazzy type stuff on it. It's a very different album. That's Black Flag's label, SST.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff on SST, everybody knows SST as being the original home of Black Flag and the Descendants, but Minutemen and like a bunch of other bands that were on there are very different. Honestly, kind of like Black Flag is. See, Damaged is there because that's the first album with Rollins, and was the one that hammered in the anger and stuff like that. But subsequent albums after Damaged are hit and miss.
Yeah,
it's a lot of experimental stuff, and it's more Black Flag, like that shit time that we saw him in. Yeah, it's like it's hit or miss. Some albums have some good stuff, and some of it's drivel. That's definitely their other than the singles. Damaged is Black Flag's strongest album, but Double Nickels on the Dime is a pretty good album. It's different, but it's pretty good.
And Minor Threat, the complete discography. I mean, for years, going back to the days with the Working Class and Andy, we've always said that's like probably one of the best punk albums, like start to finish punk albums.
Yeah.
But it's funny, that's the only like greatest hits kind of thing you have on there.
Right.
It's funny that Guttermouth is here.
That Descendants album though is perfect, man. Milo Goes College deserves to be on there hands down.
Yeah.
And that's not even my favorite Guttermouth album. I was more of a Teriyaki Moto fan.
Okay. This one captures the that shirt that said punk rock, a deliberately offensive and aggressive style rock, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Talk about that shirt that they have. This is that album. Yeah. This is the album that's fast, in your face, whatever. Teriyaki Moto is good, but it's they grew a little bit. Musically, they grew a little bit. That's the album that's fast.
No, it's funny about Guttermouth. Just today, I saw a Guttermouth sticker. It had the Crass emblem with the
Oh yeah.
It had that, and it said like, "So how's Anarchy working out for you?"
Yeah.
Speaking of Guttermouth again, I was reading something online, and somebody said, "Hey, do you remember the old Cinema Beerte and Cinema Beer Goggles videos that came out?" And I'm like, "Oh God, the Mark Atkins FBI warning."
Yeah.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, go to jail, meet a nice man named Bubba.
Oh yeah. Okay, I do remember that. Okay. What about Germs? Anybody like the Germs?
It's been a while since I've listened to that album, but
I don't listen to enough Germs to be like, yay.
Because the
Germs... Punk and Drublic is probably NoFX's best. Well, no, there's other good albums, but that is a pretty solid album.
That's a solid one, yeah. The Germs, yeah, okay.
I never really got into the Germs. I have their album, but I think you gave it to me, and I haven't listened to it since you probably gave it to me.
It's okay. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Like I think it's because it's Darby Crash. That's really what it is. It's Darby Crash.
Now,
the album by itself is just kind of like it's okay. Oh, the Damned.
I mean, we all agree with Rancid and Out Comes the Wolves being on there, but is it their best album? I mean, that's personally my favorite album. Musically, I think it is their best album, but I mean, what do you guys think?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that.
Every album is good. That's the one, if you hand somebody an album that says, hey, I want to listen to Rancid, you hand them an Out Comes the Wolves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's a really good album to start getting into punk rock? You hand them an Out Come the Wolves. Because it's got enough crossover appeal because it is. Yeah. It's hands down. I think it's hands down their best album. Yeah, that's a perfect album. That's the only one on this entire list that I will look at that album and say that 100% is completely. That's a fantastic A+. That's a perfect album. That's the only one on this list. I think I'll do that too. Everything else is like they're really good, but they have some where I'm like,
What about the Clash? Give them the Clash.
Yeah, because I'm not as big a Clash fan as you are. That's a really good album, but I'm not as big a Clash fan as you are.
I do that with the
Fear album is good. But the Fear album is definitely, it's different now. It's 2020. It's different now. Fear album is a fun album.
I started listening to Fear the other day.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's a really good album. But the lyrical content now you look back and be like, yeah, that's a little different.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. You couldn't get away with writing shit like that now. But it's Fear and it's from 1982, so you're fine. Yeah, even the Descendants album, I'm like, there's one or two songs on it that I'm like, But
no,
they're okay.
I
they're
disagree.
Oh no, I love that album.
Yeah.
I love that album, but like no, there's a couple that I'm like, yeah, that's an alright song. It's not the best. It's not a perfect album. I think
See,
Everything Sucks is a perfect album.
I'd say that with Rocket to Rush. I'd say that with almost any of the first 5 Ramones albums. If you go Ramones Leave Home, Rocket to Rush, or Road to Ruin, End of the Century, that years, I would say they're A's. I don't know about A+, but they're definitely at least A's.
Yeah.
A-.
Oh yeah. And that's where all their hits came from. Like a lot of the hits that you think associate with the Ramones are from those first 5 albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that Descendants album is killer. I think I enjoy it as being a perfect Descendants album. I think it's Everything Sucks. I really do. The Damned. Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah.
The Damned is hit or miss.
I'm familiar with The Damned, and that has the songs that I'm mostly familiar with, but I'm not, as an album as a whole, I don't know this one.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dead Kennedys. If I was somebody goes, I want to listen to the Dead Kennedys, which album should I buy? I would tell them Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables.
It is that
Right.
one. Yeah,
It's got Holiday in Cambodia. That's enough right there,
All those songs are good. That's a close. Yeah, that's up there. That's up there in this. Let's say if we have the top 5, like these are perfect albums, that would be in the top 5 of this is a perfect album, as far as for what they're producing. Not The Damned. In fact, I had that album and I'm like, this album's okay, and it does. Xavier's right. All the hits that from The Damned are on that album. Man, did one of you guys, was it Xavier or Dan? Did you go with me and Andy and Alex to that Fiend Fest, or was it just us? When the Misfits played with The Damned?
No, I didn't go.
I didn't go.
They were fucking horrible. They played most of the gothy stuff in front. It was the Misfits, The Damned, and Agnostic Front. Now on the surface, you're like, okay. And then The Damned played, and we're like, oh my god, this is boring. At one point, they have a keyboardist in the band, right? Keyboardist looked like he was about 50 years old at the time. He had hair like freaking, what's that dude's name that plays the saxophone? What's that guy's name that plays the saxophone?
Yanni? Or not,
not.
what's his, not Yanni.
Kenny G.
Yeah.
Kenny
He
G.
had hair like,
saxophone?
yeah, he does, doesn't he?
No. It's like, isn't like.
Yeah, he does, or clarinet or some shit.
Like
It's
a
some weird
clarinet or
stuff.
something.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what Kenny G is, you know what his hair looks like. Homeboy had hair like that, and in between, like, songs where he wasn't playing the keyboard, he's out there, like, doing jumping jacks to kind of get the crowd growing. I was like, the fuck is this, dude? At a Misfits show, The Damned was not liked. It was embarrassing. And that was the first time I'd ever seen The Damned, too, and I was like, oh, this is embarrassing. I was like, oh, you get to hear Neat, 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 and, New Rose. I mean, that was cool, but the rest of it was like, yeah, this is boring. Let me go get a beer. Anyway, that's what I think. I don't know. Yeah, there's a bunch of good albums there. Some of them are a little debatable. Some of them I never heard of. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Australian punk
Big
band.
break.
Yeah.
Bobby and Joe out there do the ramble, doing that dance that no one ever know. Playing is a big, big band while they're swinging. Playing is a big, big song, find it dance. Bobby, she do the ramble, Joe, he do the ramble. Playing is a big, big band while they're swinging. Playing is a big, big song, find it dance. Chris, move up a gun, hold it straight to the sun now. Playing is a big, big band while they're swinging. Playing is a big, big song, find it dance. Then you bounce up the dance. It can keep you in a trance now. Playing is a big, big band while they're swinging. Playing is a big, big song, find it dance. Watch it now, watch it. Bobby catch John, midday on a patio, playing with a woman like no girl ever know. She pull out a big, big gun from her pocket, point it down straight at the crotch of his pants. Bobby, she do the Rambo.
All right, so Dark Side of the Ring season is over. You saw some great stuff.
And
What was
the
the
last,
season finale again?
the season finale was Owen Hart.
There you go. And then the Road Warriors one was fantastic too.
Yeah. Both really good ones to end it with. I personally don't think this season was as good as the last, but I thought the Owen Hart episode was fantastic.
Right. It was, man, and you know, you've got Jericho doing the voiceovers for all this stuff, so you get to hear his side, and you know, he was part of Owen's life, and he grew up in Canada, and they trained together and did things like that. So, you know, it's really interesting, and it's really messed up to hear. You know, you never get to hear Martha's side of the story.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time she's ever commented publicly.
Right. So it was very refreshing to hear that, and just it brought a whole new level of frustration.
And I mean, I understand both points. I mean, I understand that the WWE wants to honor Owen Hart because he was a good performer, but he was never that. He never got the push that he deserved or that he was capable of. But you also understand the family side of the story is like, no. We don't want you profiting anymore off of this. And we know that we might be ostracizing from our family, but please let us be in peace. You guys kind of like Owen didn't want to do this. He hated doing this, and he did this to feed his family. I mean, they were saying like he had a teaching credential. I forget where I heard that. I don't know if it was on the podcast or that Jim Cornette does or somebody else does or on the episode of Dark Side of the Ring that he has a teaching credential that he was just going to want to go back to teaching after he made enough money like to pay for like his bills, his house, and keep his afford to go to his kids and put his kids through college.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he said that in the documentary because I don't remember that. I know they've been renewed for season 3.
Oh, nice.
So who would you like to see in season 3?
Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior, yeah.
The steroid scandal.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that would be like a two-parter.
You got to do China, man. You have to do China.
Nah, it's porn, dude.
But it's Vice, so it doesn't fuck.
Hey, Sunny.
Sunny's
yeah,
just
Sunny days. Yeah, I know. That's why I said it. Well, now you got that more shit. You got racist stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Whatchamacallit? Brian Pillman would be a good one. I'm trying to think of people who would actually could get an episode because you can't have people who are actually involved with the WWE at this time. So you have to get people who are outside or who have passed away. So Brian Pillman, Rick Rude, and I'm not sure if this one could be pulled off Abdullah Butcher because there's been people who are saying that he's passing along hepatitis C to others.
Oh shit!
Oh, I've heard that.
Oh, because of the blood loss?
That he fucking loves cutting people.
What do you think about
those are all good names.
What do you think about someone like Terry Funk and just the inability to retire?
That would be a good one, but like his story has kind of been done with
Beyond the Mat.
Beyond the Mat.
Beyond the Mat.
But it would be also nice to. I mean, they did one on Andre. I mean, they've done a lot of documentaries on Andre, so it would be nice to see an update on Terry Funk. I mean, is he still wrestling?
I don't know about now, but I mean,
Not right
for
now.
the longest time, yeah. But I know Deep, man. What was he? How old is he now? He's Rick Flair's age, isn't he?
Well into his 70s, no?
Yeah.
How old is Terry Funk?
He is 75 years old.
Yep.
Wow. He's my dad's age.
Wow. And jumping, taking chairs to the head.
Have they done an ECW episode? Well, that's kind of covered the rise and fall of ECW, but I think if they did something on ECW, it would be different. These guys doing it than what WWE or WWF at the time did.
I think they haven't done one that would be a good one. You might have to focus on some of the wrestlers such as Sabu.
He'll do it for drugs.
Yeah, Sabu. Fucking Shane
Sad
Douglas. Shane Douglas.
I don't think Tommy Dreamer is involved in anything anymore.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer. Like maybe they could get away with it, but like I don't think WWF is gonna let them do it if they're like no.
They don't let them do what they've done right now.
Yeah.
There's a ton of footage and stuff used. that they played. Did you ever hear? They go so after every episode of Dark Side of the Ring, the next day those guys go on with Conrad Thompson on JR's podcast, and they talk about the production of the episode and stuff, how it all came together. It was good. It's a good listen to hear all the backstories, behind stuff. Like did I talk about this? I feel like I talked to you guys about this before. Godfather, they go to see him and all he did was get high.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, I like the backstories of that. So they talk to a lot of guys that are no longer involved there. So
yeah.
All
right. So it looks like Funk's last match was in 2017.
Oh, maybe he is actually retired.
3
But
years.
that means he was wrestling at 72.
Jeez.
What if they do that? What if they do an episode on guys, or is this more like the wrestlers?
Maybe.
Where they do an episode with guys who just can't retire. Because, you've heard that Ric Flair basically got told, you're going to retire. Because you're just not at the level that, just not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You just can't do it anymore. And actually, I think that might be something that they look into, because even now, if you watch that Undertaker, if you haven't watched the Undertaker, that docuseries, it's definitely worth a watch. It's actually it's really good. And again, he was on the WWE podcast like last week, and he said, "Man, I've done more press and media in the last 2 months than I have in my entire 30-year career." Because he's talking to Smart Calloway.
Yeah.
So the documentary, the Last Ride, it basically follows him for 3 years. He said, "I'm getting close to the end, so I'm going to have you guys follow me for this time until I decide to hang it up." And it's that they call it chasing the dragon, where it's just like he just can't get that spot where he feels it's good enough that you can say, "That's it, that's the last match," because it was supposed to be the Roman Reigns one where he put the jacket and the hat down in the ring. But yeah, he watched it back. He watched it back, and he's like, "This is absolutely horrible. This is horrible. I cannot believe I performed like that." And just kept going, and then shit just kept happening. Where it's like, nope, he's just not satisfied until recently, until the cinematic thing where he's like, "I think that's it. I think I'm done now." I think he finally caught what he was looking for. But that would be interesting to see. Maybe it is the wrestlers. The thing to see him, Ric Flair, Terry Funk, now about like why is it so hard to retire? Why can you not give this up? Because they kind of did a little bit when they talked about MVP, when MVP was on there, about him talking about winding my career down. But now he's in WWE, full time. So interesting. Yeah, there's interesting stuff there. They're just good. They're just good.
Full-time talent, part-time wrestler.
Yeah.
You know who they should make a Dark Side of the Ring about?
Who?
Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Especially now with all the bullshit coming out about him.
All the bullshit or all the stuff?
All the bullshit that he pulled off. I'm not saying it's I'm not. I worded that poorly. I apologize. All the basically just everything that he has done since Ohio Valley Wrestling and those things, those pieces that are coming out in the speaking out movement. I refer to his actions as being bullshit because they were shitty actions, not that the stuff itself is lies and bullshit. You can cut out as much of that as you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
leave it.
I don't know where to go with Jim Cornette. I mean, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I hope this isn't true about him. I mean, I hope it's not true about anybody we've been accused, but it's not beyond him.
Right. And none of this stuff is, I mean, some of this stuff has happened recently, but the Twitter storm right now has exploded with the speaking out hashtag, where people are calling out the professional people in the professional wrestling business for their misconduct, specifically towards women. But women are not the only ones that are using the hashtag speaking out.
Yeah,
there have been men that have come out. Did Keith Lee?
Didn't Keith Lee?
I think he did. There was a referee that talked about some stuff that was similar, but it wasn't the sexual misconduct. It was just really bad
shit that they're doing to people.
Yeah, at Impact and things like that.
I mean, for years I've heard stories of Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to I've heard stories that Pat Patterson's kind of taking unfair advantage with some of the wrestlers that wanted to get over, like if you want to get over. Again, I remember hearing stories of Ultimate Warrior doing things to get over.
Mm-hmm.
That's only because that fool. There were two of them, because he went for a little while and he wasn't lifting as heavy. That's stupid. So there was a list that came out. Did you see the list that's been posted around of people that are on it that have done a bunch of stuff?
Oh yeah, there's dozens of names.
Yeah, but some of it's like old. It's like been known about.
Yeah, but in the same token, it doesn't make it right.
No, not arguing that.
Yeah.
At all. But I was like, man, some of this shit's like old, and some of it was shit that people like already knew and they dealt with already. But all of a sudden, it's like, well, actually, that on that list, Vince McMahon was on it, and it's like reason they had like a whole bunch of shit. He's just like, because he's the owner of a company, he's responsible for pretty much everything.
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of funny.
Dan, you're responsible for everything that happens with your company.
You are, Dan. I'm responsible for all the stuff that happens with my program. That's what everybody thinks anyway, even if you don't got nothing to do with it. Dan's gonna be like, it's the fucking law. What am I supposed to do? Or that's what the board wants. Like, I have to do it like this. Well, it's still your fault. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm used to that shit too, Dan. Don't worry about it.
I mean, there were a lot of names on the list. The most prominent ones were, of course, Jim Cornette, who word is that his wife was getting favors for opportunities in Ohio Valley Wrestling when Ohio Valley Wrestling was the one of the territories for WWE. It was developmental territory. And then Matt Riddle, who is just made his SmackDown debut.
The day that he got accused, too.
The day that he got accused, yeah. For things. And then the name that's exploding right now is Joey Ryan. Some people may know that name, some people may not, but you've probably heard of him as this guy who does a move where you have to touch his penis in order to that's his big signature move, is you grab his penis and he flips you.
His other signature move is he grabs a girl by the boobs and flips them.
Yep.
So we can go into stuff slightly here, and like I said, kayfabe has dropped too, so we go in a little bit more in depth in all this stuff, just what we're covering here. But I heard an interview with Joey where, actually I think he was talking to Stone Cold, where he talked about his moveset, and saying he asked people if they were comfortable with it, and if they were, they did it. If they weren't, he said, then we don't do it. You got to be comfortable with it. Because he did ask a couple guys, hey, this is my move, like, do you want to do it? And there were some guys, I think Billy Gunn was one of them, who turned him down. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. So, like, it wasn't a thing. So, on the surface, and because, like, he owns bar wrestling, or owned bar wrestling, which, that's what hurt, is we've been to this. And we saw it all as just a spot, a joke, a play into stuff, thinking everybody was in on the joke, and it was just like, something outlandish. It was a gimmick, outlandish and outrageous, something to do. I mean, you went and there was LGBTQ performers, there was multiple women matches. Like, we thought it was inclusive, almost as all inclusive as AEW, is claiming to be. And we were okay with it, but then you start to see a lot of people were talking about, man, you got the guy with the dick flip. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you do. Is that the trigger right there? Is that the warning already? That's the one that was like, it didn't hurt me, but you know what I mean?
You know what? I hope that somebody's able to take bar wrestling, turn it into something new, and do their own thing with it without Joey Ryan. I mean, it was a great entertainment for the evening. I mean, yeah, was it not for kids? Yeah, but like for adults, and I don't mean adult entertainment, but for adults going to enjoy something, it was perfect.
Right. And, one of the people that came out against Joey Ryan, disagreeing with everything was Ryan Nemeth, who is Dolph Ziggler's brother. He says, I stopped taking bar wrestling bookings because I figured these things out. I figured out how bad he was. And he had another promotion that was starting to take off, and then it just kind of fizzled. So maybe he can bring back, it was Nuclear Heat. That's what it was called.
Right.
They were doing a lot of
Ryan
similar
Nemath?
bookings to bar wrestling. Yeah.
Was it local here too, or no?
It was in L.A. He did a couple of shows in L.A. called Nuclear Heat.
Okay.
And I was hoping that one's going to take off a lot of the similar performers because they're all kind of in the same circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, that's the one that hurt kind of the most. Was like, man, that's directly us, because you just, everything you heard about him, you thought, okay, he's a good guy. Obviously, we don't know him personally, but you know, how he's helping this person and doing what he wants, and got over with something stupid, but is asking people if they want to do it, and if not,
I have pictures with him, and I have merchandise that's his, and
Rancho and Reseda.
Even the elite is like, yeah, he just seemed like kind of a socially awkward guy. He wasn't like, he didn't necessarily trigger with him, but they're like, he just seemed, like he was a little bit, he didn't know how to socialize with people right. But it comes out he's trying to take advantage of women and, forcing himself into their hotel rooms after shows and things like that. It's messed up. One of the responses to that one was from Watts. And Dan, you sent that to us. Watts' apologies for all that.
he's hurt. He was just like, I consider this guy a friend, man. I can't believe he would do that. I can't believe I didn't see it. I can't believe, and I wasn't there to protect you. Like, he just was hurt by the whole thing.
He's such a good guy, man. Watts comes off as such an amazing human.
Yeah, and he's there. Think about it, man. We were at bar wrestling 2 weeks before all this went to shit.
Yeah.
Before the world went to shit, nothing was going on. So we were I think there was one more. I think there was one the next week. And then that was the last one.
Yeah, as I said, we're at one of the last ones to happen.
And they were going to start running Pomona. That was the plan. The plan was to start running Pomona. And in fact, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but the theater where bar wrestling was taking place dropped them. Even if it does come back, they're not getting it back. It's like, no, we don't want nothing to do with that. And it's right. It's right for now. So there's lots of names on the list. Like I said, if you follow wrestling, you'll recognize a bunch of them that we go through and talk about on kayfabe too. We go into, it's a hour and a half discussion about pretty much just that. And it's just that. It's just a discussion, kind of what we heard, what we think, what was said. Right. It's just that. We talked about it here. You guys don't have to bring anything else up. Let's do it, but you get a more in-depth convo there.
And I just want to say, if you've been a victim, say something. Tell everybody that you know. People will believe you. I mean, tell the truth. Tell what happened. Document it. Like, write stuff down. Tell everybody you know. Tell police. Tell your family. Tell everybody. You're not alone with this. This happens. And the only way we could stop this is to stop people from doing this and get them the proper help and get them in, have their day in court. We will believe you. We will support you.
Yeah. 100%.
No, it's hard. It's a different world, and we're hoping, that we're trying to change the world right now. That's what everything going on is about. These protests and these movements is trying to change the world. So do the best when you're ready.
Let's no weird segue or anything. Let's just move on to a different topic. That is enough. That deserves its own spot. And, we'll leave it at that. No joke. No nothing.
No.
Are we ready to have a beer and talk some sports? Because we're gonna get sports, guys. We're gonna get sports back.
Yeah. So NBA will be returning at the end of July. So there's going to be 22 teams involved, and they have a plan, and they're going to be playing in Florida. All the teams will be taking place in Florida.
At Disney? Is this really in a bubble?
At Disney.
What is this? What is this bubble they're speaking of? Is it? How is that supposed to work? What are they playing in? An arena or outdoors?
They're all playing in the same spot, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all playing in the same spot. They're all confined to the same hotel, so they're only interacting with each other.
It's gonna be weird.
Yeah,
it is. I'm gonna crack open this 805 while we are talking. Here,
fantastic.
So here's to the 805. Cheers.
Salud. And I'm drinking
what? You got Ballast Point?
Ballast Point Sculpin, which is one of probably my favorite beers.
So what I did hear
I've
that
been drinking
they
that
were
for
all,
10 years now.
that the NBA was going to be all playing in the same spot, and they were going to be in the hotel. So it's there. How many games were we looking at again?
22 teams will play 8 games each, seeding games, and the NBA is calling them before the postseason begins. The NBA will play multiple games each day from Orlando campus, as many as 5 or 6 during the seeding games, with teams expected to play on back-to-back days once. Sports complex features 3 basketball facilities with multiple courts. So they're going to do like a little, like, just to get seeds to some of the teams that have not already clinched a playoff spot, like the Lakers already clinched a playoff spot. Some of the teams have already clinched a playoff spot. If you're doing,
that's right. They're finishing their season, huh?
yeah.
I forgot about that.
If you're a really shitty team, you don't get to play right now. It's like, sorry, stay home. Then they're going to have a postseason, and I'm not exactly sure how the postseason is going to work, but they're going to have a playoff. So they're going to actually have a championship.
I forgot they shut down.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of the season.
Yeah, so they're going to actually have some people who are not playing this, and I have a list of people who have decided they're not going to be traveling to Orlando. Trevor Aziz with the Trailblazers, Davis Bertans from the Wizards, Avery Bradley with the Lakers, and that's like a big one. Like that could hurt the season a lot for the Lakers. I mean, they've done really well. They're expected to win a championship with LeBron. Willie Cauley-Stein for the Mavericks, DeMarcus Cousins, he's a free agent, but like he said, like, yeah, I'm probably not going to play.
Well, it's a thing. It's justifiable.
Yeah.
Completely is justifiable. Right now, we didn't talk about this, and I'm not going to go any in depth, but some of the backstage interviewers from WWE just tested positive.
Yeah,
for
I saw
COVID.
that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a thing you got to worry about. But like, I guess one of them had actually said she had it before. She already had it. She got it again.
And she got it again.
She got it again. Yeah, she's like, I thought I was safe. PSA, wear your mask. Like, because I thought it was safe. I did stuff. Everybody that's doing it is saying I did stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. Like, if I had taken this serious, I wasn't. So, I just totally forgot that the NBA was actually finishing their season. Because again, it just seems like so long ago.
Yeah, so like March, by April, end of April to start the playoffs. So yeah, they were almost done with their season.
Yeah, ordinarily by now we'd be about done, right?
Oh, we would have been done and already had the parade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy to think, huh? That it's resuming when it should have been over.
I remember I was going through some of my history on Facebook, and it was like I was looking at 2010, like, oh yeah, the Lakers already clinched won the championships by this date, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's weird, man. But hey, that's good. That's good. They get to finish the season and see what's up instead of leaving it in limbo. So baseball is coming back too. In a little bit of a different way. So are they going to have fans? There's no fans, huh? There's no fans.
As far as I know, there's not going to be any fans.
Yeah. It's the smartest thing to do. Have you heard anything about baseball and fans? I haven't actually seen anything about that. About fans in the stadiums. I would imagine no, because of some of the new rules. Which we'll talk about in just a second, but.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about that either, so I know they're not going to play with any fans in the stadium.
Okay. Oh, I meant for baseball. But anyway,
yes.
Okay.
NBA is not going to have any fans either. So MLB is going to have a 60-game season that was being reviewed with the Player Association, and there's got a lot of crazy new rules with it, like that are a lot different than we've seen before.
I mean, some of them were already coming down the pipeline anyway, like the DH in the National League. DH is going to be able to use the National League is going to be able to use designated hitters, which is something they've been calling for a long time because of the stress on pitchers. How much they've got with the arm throwing the fastball and stuff anyway, so it's just not tiring them out. In between games, if you're going through your rotation of pitchers, the pitchers that are not playing that day, they don't have to be in the dugout. They can be watching from the stands instead. They're keeping that social distance type stuff. Another, I found this one interesting. And I don't know if this is because of this or if this was some new rule that was instituted. Maybe you can clarify that for me. They're going to what's called an international tiebreaker, in extra innings, where you put if you go to extra innings because the game is tied, then what you do is you put the player that was last out on your team on second base, and then you begin there to try to break that tie quicker, to end the game sooner. So that's gonna. I don't know if that was coming before. Do you know anything about that? I know what an international tiebreaker is because of softball, but that's actually I didn't know if that was already coming or if that's something new for this season. Only for this season.
I think it's only for this season because it's not going to take place for the postseason.
Yeah,
so
I did
it's
hear
going to
that.
be like
It wasn't me for the postseason.
Yeah,
Right.
so if it's going to be just in place for the regular season, I don't think there's any going to carry it over.
Maybe it's just to limit the time they're amongst each other.
Yeah.
Because you tend to have stuff happen when there's somebody already in scoring position on second base. Nobody can come within 6 feet of the umpires either. You're subject to automatic ejection. If you come in, you are. That's a new rule. You come in, you're subject to automatic ejection from the game if you come in within 6 feet of the umpire.
They're gonna love that.
You can't do that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be no celebrations after like a home run or anything. No high fives, no fist bumps, no hugs after that kind of stuff. This one is weird. The new pitching rule. Pitchers have to go up and they have to face at least 3 outs. Is that the rule that I read? Did you guys go through the rules?
3 batters.
They have
3
to
batters or
face
half
at least
an
3
inning.
batters? Half an inning.
Yeah.
So that means you bring in somebody relief, they have to go through 3 batters?
They have to go through 3 batters or a half an inning, whichever happens first or whatever.
Well, I'm just clarifying. That's what it is, right? Even with a relief pitcher, you have to come in. Like, let's say you bring in somebody for relief, they have to go through 3 batters.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it's meant for. I mean, you get the pitcher that goes in for 1 batter and then they switch them out.
Right.
So they have to go for a minimum of 3 batters.
Now I know these are new rules for again the season. Was that something that was going to look into, or is that just a rule for the season?
I don't know about that. I mean, it's one of those things. If they're trying to, I don't know how much of this was they're trying to reduce exposure within the dugouts and things like that, or how much of it is just to speed up the game, because that's one of the most common complaints about baseball is it's just a long game.
Yeah. Well, that would
Just
explain.
count on the downtime.
You weren't here, but the international tiebreaker, it's meant to speed up the game. It's meant to finish the game. Yeah. And then the other rule was that pitchers are allowed to carry a small wet rag in their back pocket.
I did see that.
So that they can use that to moisten their fingers instead of licking them.
That's going to be hard.
On the mound.
That's going to be hard, but just because you're so used to it, it's part of like your routine that you do.
But
Yeah.
you got to get it through that mindset because one
Yeah.
of the rules is that you can't be touching something that somebody else has touched. And that ball, think about how many people touch that ball. Well, first of all, you go through a lot of baseballs in a game anyway because no matter when it hits the dirt, that ball's out. On a pitch, if the ball hits the dirt, that ball is gone. It gets tossed because you have to see if it scratched the ball enough to change anything that the way the ball would react to a hit. So that's automatic anyway. You're still going to go through a lot of balls, but think about like on a regular routine play, how many people touch that ball. So it's in the general, for safety. I understand that, and that's one that I know for a fact is only for this season. That's not a permanent rule change. The DH one I think might be a permanent rule change.
I kind of don't want to see a DH in the National League. It's like this is what separates the leagues. American League is known for the home run hitters, where the National League is known for like the strategy and like the pitching duels. But that's just me.
Well, this is not anything but a typical season.
Yeah.
So the players, the MLBPA was, what is it, 37% of pay? Prorated to like 37% of pay?
Yes.
Something like that. So they got prorated in their pay. And that was pretty good.
Is that still happening? I mean, I know there was still talk that there was a more positive tests coming out of the dugouts than they wanted to already. Or, I know they haven't reported yet, but
that was the other rule too, is because they were looking at how much, because when you're injured, you're placed on a day, a certain amount of days on an injured list. That's not the case for anybody that tests positive. You're not limited to a number of days there, so it's going to be an interesting season. I'm sure we'll see. I haven't heard any names yet that are not going to play, but I'm sure we'll start to see them. July 1st is when pitchers are supposed to begin reporting for that kind of stuff. They are supposed to be tested every practice or every other practice, something like that. They're going to be tested often, is what I had read. And although I'm the one that changed the links in the page, and they're all on the
Yeah.
MLB website. So I was searching through it yesterday, reading about it. But it's going to be interesting.
Hey, but I gotta admit, if they make a special hat that says COVID-19 season, I'm gonna buy it.
It's the same with our social distancing shirts. They're just there.
I did buy the 2020 batting practice hat already though, before even everything went down.
Now we got to wait here to get a football season.
What's that, X?
Hey, you know what I saw? Speaking of football season, I saw a Nevada license plate with the Raider logo.
I've seen those before.
And it was funny because the first two letters were Al, as in Al Davis.
Thank
I don't know,
the
man,
maker.
That's
what they're doing
too
for
far.
I don't know if they're doing that for the Raiders plate or that just like happened like that. So
That's fine.
I've seen the Raiders shield on a Vegas plate already before. Oh, what else we got?
I think that's about it.
Well, hold on real quick. We talked about this earlier. Xavier was talking about the difference with the designated hitter and, talking about the power hitters in the American League, but you're forgetting two from the National League, and that's Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, man. Talking about those two.
Oh, yeah.
They just had 30 for 30 called Long Gone Summer on ESPN. Dan, did you say you watched that?
I saw a little bit of it.
It was good, man. It was really good. What I don't think you pay attention to is the fact that how much pressure those guys were under. It's a lot of pressure on you to because you get so close to breaking the record, but also trying to outdo each other. So it was real good. At first I thought it was going to be basically a story about Mark McGwire, but then it kind of brought up, because when the season started, everybody thought McGwire was going to be the one to do it, because he had 50-something home runs the year before, and it was like he's going to be the one to do it, and out of nowhere comes this guy. Well, first of all, if you remember the chase, Ken Griffey Jr. was in that to begin with too.
yeah.
He was getting his numbers tallied, and then all of a sudden Sammy Sosa kind of came out of nowhere. Next thing you know, he's got 30 home runs. So the chase became the three of them, and then at some point, Griffey Jr. just got dusted, and it becomes the two. It was really good, man. I stand by the claim that all 30 for 30 things, you should just watch all of them. You should completely watch just all of them. The Bruce Lee one was really good too, which was different. We didn't talk about the Bruce Lee one, huh? We didn't bring that up.
No. Bruce Lee was good. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought it would. I saw better documentaries on Bruce Lee. The one the History Channel did was I thought was a lot better.
They were all just audio interviews, huh? Really?
No.
Yeah.
Well, they were, but what they were was okay. So I found that different too, because I found it odd. At first, I thought, was this filmed during COVID? Just because of the way that it was, the audio interview stuff. No, if you actually watch the very end, they had all those people there that they showed a picture, like they showed the caption of who they were, and then they held up a pic, like Kareem, right? They showed Kareem at the end, and then he held up a picture of him with Bruce Lee. So no, they did all the interviews there. Just the director chose to put either footage from a movie or still pictures about whatever it was they were talking about in the documentary. So it was done in a really different way. Like I thought
Gotcha.
so too. And the thing about this one too, I thought it was a little different than I imagined too. I thought it would be more about him and the fighting and all that. No, it was about him being an Asian American trying to fit into Hollywood.
Right.
Like, that's really what that documentary was.
Yes,
That's not what I expected. I expected the
Martial arts
yeah,
part.
a martial arts thing to be a really big chunk of that, and it was, but that's not what the story was. And I found that being given the time that we're in with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and stuff, to be like, that's very relevant to what's going on right now. It was a perfect time to air that kind of thing, to say like, dude, no, this is the way it's been for a long time. Because if we're talking about Bruce Lee, man, we're talking about from the 40s and the 50s into the 70s.
That was 50 years ago that Bruce Lee was really big.
Yeah. So I thought it was really good. If you catch that somewhere, or a repeat on ESPN, or on the app or whatever, if you got the app with Disney Plus, whatever,
Right.
it is definitely something to watch. It's different because I don't think it's what any of us expected, but I thought it was really, really. I mean, I found myself glued to the TV, like, man, I'm really going to pay attention and watch this. And sometimes when I watch TV, I'm watching it, but I'm doing something else at the same time. Not this one. I actually stood there and watched it. Was it different? Yes. It wasn't your typical, cut to this. Because I watched the Bo Jackson one. They re-aired the Bo Jackson one the same day as the one about McGwire and Sosa. And I found myself glued to the TV for that one, too. Every time 30 for 30's on, dude, I'm just glued to it. No matter what the story is. It's one of those on just like series record.
Right. Hey, breaking news. 2 hours ago, Impact Wrestling announced that they have terminated the contract of Tessa Blanchard.
Really?
Oh.
The racist?
She's been stripped of the title.
Because she wasn't showing up either, huh?
No, she's been in Mexico since this whole thing started.
Now, is she
With
stuck in
Daga.
Mexico? Is she stuck in Mexico?
That I don't know for sure.
I thought I heard she was stuck in Mexico, too. Like, she couldn't get
That I
out.
don't
And I
know
don't
for
think she wants to. I don't think she wants to.
No,
do
I don't think she
anything
wants to
during
at
this
all.
time. Yeah. That's funny. Hey, we saw her and Daga 2 weeks before all this shit broke out, too. They were at
Yeah.
bar wrestling. They were
Yep.
at bar wrestling, dude. Crazy
Which
times.
is funny because the main event for Slammiversary was supposed to be her, Trey Miguel, Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Michael Elgin. Michael Elgin has also been suspended too
Yeah,
for
Apple out. He's going to be out, too.
for the speaking out movement stuff. He's a beast.
Wow. Was, because we were working at McDonald's in a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, man. I think that's it. We got anything else?
No.
We're good.
That's about it. Really quickly, I want to give a shout out to chemical guys. They do a lot of like cool like detailing products for your car, but you can get hand sanitizer through them. So I bought some hand sanitizer when I bought some stuff to start washing my car. But washing my car at home, I found it very like therapeutic. I want to do like a clay bar treatment and wax my Maxima.
Man, I've been painting bedrooms, so I've been busy. That's where I was earlier today. Hey, let me ask you a question. Does that hand sanitizer smell anything like Jack Daniels?
No, it doesn't.
Have you heard about that? A lot of these hand sanitizers
No.
that are new up and comers, they smell like cheap alcohol.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
I got
it's-
some. Go ahead. Well, it's alcohol based, yeah. But I got some from. I think I found it when it was hard to find at. I think Aldi. Aldi had some, and I bought some, and it's about 60% alcohol, which is like that's fair enough if I'm just here out and about before I get a chance to wash my actual hands. I'll be damned if I don't put that in. I'm like, Jack Daniels. Smells just, it smells just like that shit. It smells like whiskey.
A lot of the dispensers and things are doing that right now too because they're pumping out so much.
Yeah. So,
These
it was
small
fun. That was
distilleries that are now small hand sanitizer businesses.
fun. Hey, I said this before. I'll say it again. I applaud the way people tried to stay in business legally, like that, to be innovative to stay in business.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
Partook from that.
Dude,
And
you
I'm
know
still trying to eat
how many
small.
people are, you know how many people are selling a mask?
Yeah.
Like people are just making their whole livelihood right now selling masks. Like, I see people on the corners like, yeah, accept like all these different ones like Venmo, Apple Pay, like 5 different ones that they're accepting because like, hey, I gotta sell my stuff.
Hey,
Exactly.
DGP Clothing. Diggs is selling completely customizable masks. It's a blank mask, $15. You choose the design that you want on it, whatever you want. He completely prints it on there, whatever. You got a picture you want on there, he prints it on there. That's how that goes. $15. What more can you do? Hey, gotta stay afloat somehow. Hey,
Yep.
you know what, Xavier? Hey, man, things are tough all over.
Exactly.
All right, man. Rick, you want to hit it?
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks for listening, of course. If you have any music, if you're in a band, if you have a short film you want us to review, if you have anything like that, hit us up. We're always looking to review and promote you guys the best way we can. You can email us at exocast@yahoo.com. We're on Instagram as exoculture. We're on Facebook as exocult and Twitter as exocultcast. You can find Extraordinary Culture podcasts on iHeartRadio, Podomatic, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and YouTube. You can even ask your smart home device to play the Extraordinary Culture podcast. That's going to be it for this time. Take care.
And we're out.
Let's see. So look up. Let's see. They're gonna be the 22. Okay, let's see.